Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Jason and the channel is the Everyday Card Collector. I am here with my good friend Aaron from Value Vintage Cards.
Yeah.
How are you,
Good
sir?
day, sir. Doing well. How are you?
Good. And we are doing episode 8 of Mount Rushmore. And this is going to be a fun one. Now, I will say this right off the bat, Aaron. I'm calling it episode 8. I think it's technically 9 because we snuck one on 4 collectors. But okay. I just called it 8 at this point in time. But theoretically, I believe it's 9. So maybe I'll amend that on the next one.
Yeah, I got to be honest. 8 surprised me. But what the heck? We're having fun. Yeah.
Exactly right. Right. We got a great guest, guys. I'll let Aaron explain the rules of Mount Rushmore. If you haven't watched us before, he'll go through the rules real quick. Then we'll introduce our guest and what our topic is tonight. So why don't you fire away, my friend?
Absolutely. Yeah. And our guest might bring in a couple of different folks wanting to watch because I think his style of collecting might be a little bit different than some of the folks we've have on previously. So it'll be a fun one.
Absolutely.
But yeah, basic easy rules. Mount Rushmore obviously is the top 4. So different topics could be positions, could be eras, could be particular type of collecting. And in this case, we're going to be going with team collecting. So it's going to be the Mount Rushmore of that team. Basic, easy, simple rule always is you have to have a card to represent. And then as we go through, we'll kind of go through our top 4 and see where we match, and where we don't match, we'll have honorable mentions that maybe are on everyone else's lists or not. So we shall see.
Perfectly said as usual. You do better than me. So without further ado, let's get our guest on. Our guest is going to be Brent Richards. How are you,
What's
sir?
up? How are you?
Very good. So those who don't follow Brent, his channel is Brent Richards and Baseball Cards. So please give him a follow. We like to tailor our topics around our guests. So what is our topic tonight, Brent?
Well, we're going to do Houston. So
yes.
And thank you for that. Obviously, my arsenal for this is way better with Houston than anything else. But we could have done positions or something, obviously. But with that, it gives me a lot more to play with. And, us only going back to 62, we're not, the Yankees or Cubs or somebody that goes way, way back where we would need a bunch of stuff of greats that are before the stuff that I have in my collection. So It kind of works for me 2 ways. So I appreciate that.
No, that's perfect. We actually prefer. We kind of let the guests dictate, and then it's up to Aaron and I to dig and find and do our thing. So that's part of the fun for me as well. Just kind of digging through stuff and seeing what we got. So yes, we are doing the Houston Astros. So we're going to do what we consider, each one of us considers to be the top 4 greatest Houston Astros of all time. So we'll let Brent start us off, and you can take it in order. You can do whatever you want, Brent. It doesn't have to be in order, whatever you prefer. But we'll let you kick it off with your first player.
Yeah. I think the best way to do it is 4-1. So
beautiful.
I think that's the best way. And I have mounds of stuff I had to cull down, but it was fun going through everything, just trying to find some representation of what to show and everything. But 4 to me. He could end up being the greatest Astro, but since his book isn't over yet and he's still playing, I got to go with Altuve on 4. He could end up with 3,000 hits. He could change a lot of things between now and, when it's all over, 5-6 years from now, whenever that's going to be. But Altuve is going to be 4 for me, even though some people would throw him at 1 just because of the team success and all that kind of stuff going on. But he's got a couple of these 2024 Topps greatest hits, and this one's a 2,000 career hits. Obviously, he's past 2,000 at this point, and they also have the 200 home run.
Yes.
So those are kind of cool, just because they're kind of milestone cards, and we're talking about guys with milestones here, that kind of thing. This next one was a gift from Shane Shoebox Legends. Obviously, we collect these rainbow foil boards with Stadium Club. He gave me a beauty.
Love it. Beautiful card.
So it's just a nice card. You can see the shine there. But a great, they always have great photography on these Stadium Club cards.
So yeah, they're awesome.
That thing is sick. This is one you probably haven't seen a lot of, but this is the Chrome Gallery of Greats. This is a gold refractor to 50, but you don't see these a lot.
What year is that, Brent?
It's 20. It looks like 15, but my eyes are getting bad. But yeah.
Yeah, trust me,
but
I
yeah,
get that.
It's been a while since these came out, but these gold refractors are pretty tough. So that's pretty cool. And this one's probably my best Altuve card, and it's a patch autograph number to 25, but it's one of the gold framed. It's actually a thick gold frame.
Yeah, yes, right. I know that. Yeah, comes in the frame.
Types, yeah, but with the stripe and the auto and all that, it's a pretty sick card.
And you got a multicolor patch. It's not just a napkin, which is nice.
Exactly, it's a patch, not just a piece of dirt. And of course, it's not nondescript from whatever game, never been used kind of thing. That's going
right.
And then I have the box topper with the autograph with the national anthem flag in the background.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
It's a phenomenal piece. Just, it was a box topper for Stadium Club, but you could get this by itself. But if you pulled the autograph, obviously you were lucky. I don't open and pull stuff, so this was a purchase for me. But that's something you could have pulled off that pack that's in the top of the hobby boxes.
Right.
I just liked it so much. I had to pull the trigger on that. I like the oversize on this kind of stuff better than the standard, size card. But, regardless of where he ends up in the Pantheon, I think since he's still playing, I'm going to put him at 4.
I'll let you go next, Aaron. Did Altuve make your top 4?
Well, this is interesting. It's for me, obviously this is a little bit more challenging because I'm way more vintage focused. Modern stuff, like, I get lost. So
and I don't ever collect stuff of guys playing now. But in this case, with a local guy, sometimes I do a little bit.
Right.
There you go. Yeah. It's Altuve definitely would be on my list, and I have just enough to qualify to be able to show something of his. This, I'm trying to think how I even had a pack of this. 2015, I guess, but I'll pick things up like that. What are these, Heritage or something?
Yeah, 50 replication of the 57s.
57, right? Yeah.
So to me, that's extra fun. So I did have one of those, and as bizarre as this is, I just ordered a card, and every so often folks on eBay will just kind of stuff things in.
Yes.
And it's so like indicative of kind of how base cards are considered now, which is crazy. But he included
that's a brand new set.
That's
series 1 2025.
Yeah. That's brand new.
I mean, I know nothing about it, but I looked at it, I was like, that's cool. At least I have 2 of his now.
Right. That's awesome. I get a kick out of that when I get stuff delivered and there's other cards because I keep them all. Even, I'm like, all right.
I do too.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't, it's the card. I got to keep it. So
I think it's a nice touch. And sometimes you're not even buying something expensive and they still throw it in there. And it's
right.
Cool.
What they wrap it in is worth as much as what you paid for, It's crazy.
Yeah.
So he did in fact hit your list. He's one of your 4 then.
He did. And I kind of wanted to ask Brent, being the resident expert here, is he a lock for the Hall of Fame right now for you?
I mean, I'm biased. I would say yes, but I think he needs a couple more years of stats. He's got the winning. He's got the pedigree. He's got the batting titles. He's got the MVP, all that stuff. I wouldn't put guys that are in the low 2000s of hits yet. There's too many guys that are ahead of that. I mean, people make fun of Harold Baines, and he had, 2,800 hits or something? Yeah. I think he deserves it, but that's a whole different story. Not everybody's –
talking to 2 Sox fans, too. But
I know. It's just, it is what it is. To me, there's different reasons to be in the Hall of Fame. One of them is a stat compiler, and some of them – like, to me, Roger Maris, dang Hall of Famer. I mean, he's more famous than 99% of the people in there. He broke Babe's record. He was 2-time MVP. I don't care anything else past that. Mattingly, to me, is a Hall of Famer. But Maris, to me, is like the most obvious guy ever. And the writers just, I don't know. But to me, there's different reasons to be in there. It's the Hall of Fame. It's not the Hall of Stats. There's a lot of different ways to get in my opinion. But, yeah, Altuve, I think, is definitely going to make it. Pedro says he'll be the greatest second baseman of all time before he hangs it up. I think he could get into that Sandberg, maybe Joe Morgan territory. I don't think he's going to get to the Rogers Hornsby territory. He's way. I mean, he's way.
No, the numbers and the numbers we're talking to the resident, and the guy in the middle is the resident Hornsby collector. Yeah. So I mean, the numbers that man put up,
way better than people think. He's insane.
He's one of the greatest, if not the greatest hitter ever, possibly. So
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Underrated he is. But, yeah, he's not going to get to that. But I think he'll be in the Hall of Fame. If he retired today, it's close. But if he puts a couple more years in, now he's moving to left field. Who knows how that'll work out. But, he's getting to the mid-30s kind of thing. Hopefully he has some productivity left in him. But he wants to get to 3,000. Him and Miguel Cabrera talk about it all the time. I mean, he's like Verlander, which I wish we could have kept him. But he went to the Giants. But, he wants 300 wins. He wants to be the last 300-game winner ever. So when you have a guy that's that motivated and that big of a deal trying to chase like Altuve with 3,000, I wouldn't bet against him.
I actually think he's still extremely productive at his age now. So I think he's going to get to 3,000. I believe he's a lock for the Hall of Fame, personally. With current numbers right now, I think he could still get in. It'd be a little more iffy. But I think by the time he's done, he's going to be a lock. And that's my opinion.
Yeah, I think he's a lock. I don't know if he's first ballot instant unless he puts in a couple more years. But I think he will. I mean, he's not showing signs of breaking down or getting injured or whatever.
Right.
Well, let me add a twist to that, because I agree statistically, achievement, all that stuff, I'd say is in now, because I'm kind of the same idea. I mean, Thurman Munson, Don Mattingly, Dale Murphy, Roger Maris, they're all Hall of Famers to me.
Another 2-time MVP, Yep.
Yeah, like that's silly and obvious to me. But does Altuve have his own version of steroid drama with the garbage can? Is that anything that, do people care enough, or is that going to be like a funny story, kind of like a spitball or nail file for Joe Niekro kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. To me, it should be in the category, because he's the one that even his teammates said he didn't need that system. He didn't do it. And of course, we rattled off 7 straight ALCSs just to prove that year wasn't a fluke. But yeah, I put it in that category. I mean, everybody was scuffing balls, taking greenies, doing all kinds of things all throughout history. And tons of teams were cheating. And, we were made a example of, even though several other teams were cheating. Cora takes the exact thing that he brought here to Boston the next year and wins the next year, but nobody's booing him. So it is what it is. But Altuve's the nicest superstar in history, and he's just so gracious. And he'll take the booze. He'll go out there and he'll do his job, and he'll, give to charity and love kids. He's like just the nicest guy. And his story being like barely 5 feet tall, everybody wrote him off. He went to camp that first year from Venezuela, came here, they sent him home, they cut him, and then he came back the next day. And he found a coach that was from his country, and he convinced him to let him play a little bit more. Now he's going to be, Hall of Famer. So his story is just incredible. He's kind of like the Dylan of Major League Baseball. Man.
Right, exactly. I believe much like, to your question, Aaron, I believe much like Brent feels. I think that's going to be the Embry board. That's going to be a pine tar conversation, the banging of the garbage can. It's not going to be the Pete Rose, Shoeless Joe betting. It's not that.
If it was you're talking about Bregman or somebody that, is kind of proven that he did it and so forth. Yeah, but it is what it is. But, the team had to kill everybody for 7 years to kind of prove that,
right.
The reason they were good. So,
right.
And we won with pitching and we won on the road, but everybody ignores all that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, it's true.
I will, so I'm next, and I will say, not only did he make my list, he's in the exact same position that Brent has. I have him at 4 because he's still active. I think when it's all said and done, and he's retired and is in the Hall of Fame, I think he will get there. I think he will be 1 or 2 in the history of the Astros when he's in the Hall. So I've got 2023 purple number to 250.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
And then I've got, I really enjoy the Topps Finest set. So this is 2022 Topps Finest.
Okay.
I like the Gypsy Queens. So I've got a Gypsy Queen as well. Then I've got, this is 2021, I believe. 2022 Refractor Topps Chrome.
Yeah.
And then just some, here's base paper for 2022. And I've got a lot of Altuve. But I didn't take it all out. And, some of this stuff, this is just Dunross, base paper Dunross as well. So that's what I grabbed for him. But everything that Brent said and the questions that you brought up, Aaron, I think are extremely valid. And I think I agree 100% with all of that. He's going to get in the Hall. I actually probably more confident that he could get in now. I really believe he could. It wouldn't be first ballot, like you said, Brent, but what he's done, it's beyond just WAR. It's beyond, he's put up some numbers, and I think he's got, how old is he, Brent? 32?
He's a little older than that, but he's,
okay.
That was like 34, 33, 34.
He's probably in the mid-30s at this point, but he's got some time left for sure. I mean, you can't get to 3,000 young. You have to be pretty old to get to that kind of number, no matter who you are.
Well, I'm just I want to look at the backs of these. I'm trying to find the most recent. So this is the 2022. I mean, he's still extremely productive.
Oh, yeah.
He hit 300 in 22. So, I mean, he's very, very productive. So if he could put 3 more years together like that, I see no issue with him getting in the Hall.
Yeah. He'll be 35 in May. So he's
okay.
See, there you go. So 34.
Yeah.
He's moving to the outfield, going to do that thing like Biggio did, and just kind of keep it going as long as he can. He's got to learn that position, but he should still be productive hitting because he's been the best second baseman in baseball for a long time. He may not continue to be that, but he's going to be good enough for sure. But I just put him there. I just put him at 4 just because he's still going, and we don't know where it's going to go. If his WAR gets way up there and he gets 3,000 hits, all that kind of stuff, you're pushing the top of the list there.
Yeah, and my top of the list might be different than yours. Actually, I'm real curious but we'll go to Aaron next. So Aaron, you get to pick next, and we'll kind of rotate it that way.
Number 3.
So he was my number 3 technically.
Okay.
I'm going to say the one that I'm going to go with another lock, I think. So I don't know if it's going to be your 2 or where he would fall. And this gets a little bit into the tail end of my prime collecting. And you already said his name, so we might as well just expose the fact he's on the list. But
there you go.
Yeah, so rookie of Biggio, so 88, 89, 90, 91, that's Aaron, barely a teen kind of collecting. So that's prime era. Couldn't drive, might as well collect baseball cards. So
yeah.
I thought Biggio, and I think he gets a little bit of like Harold Baines kind of hate for being a compiler a little bit because he played such a long time. But I think he needs like some Robin Yount credit for being able to be amazing at multiple positions.
Yeah.
Anytime I look at
he was a catcher, second baseman, and outfield.
Yeah, center field too, right? Wasn't it center? Yeah.
Center field, I think. Yes. I mean, those are all light hitting positions historically, and you're a 3,000 hit. What's that?
He's got a ton of stolen bases too. I mean, he's way up there.
Yeah. I mean, his cards, I was kind of pulling, and it's funny because like that one, they list him as a catcher, but he's not catching.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of later career stuff, but yeah, he really is. I mean, he's so slight built and looks like such a kid there. Mm-hmm. You can tell he's a runner. Like he's going to go steal 30 bases that year. So
that's why they killed him from being a catcher, was just his legs, so he could steal bases. And he did. And they moved him to the outfield because we got Jeff Kent. Now here's another guy. Why the heck is he not in the Hall of Fame? He has more home runs than any second baseman ever.
Right.
And we don't put him in the Hall. I don't get the writers at all. But yeah, we signed Jeff Kent, and of course Biggio said, "Yeah, bring him on. I'll move. I'll move." Yeah, that's just the kind of guy he is. He's like an Altuve, just in Bagwell too, just super team guys. Just will do whatever. They're humble, But he moved out to the outfield because of Kent, even though he was our big second baseman forever. But they wanted to win. They were hungry to win. We finally got there in 2005, got swept because the White Sox were so hot. But it was fun. It was fun. You got to realize we had 40 years my whole life. We didn't do anything. So just getting there for Houston was just crazy awesome in 2005. Of course, Clemens and Pettit being here.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll swing it to me, and then we can. I do number mine. I know that you numbered yours, Aaron. You don't often do that.
So I really didn't, but for me, like kind of like you said, and it's fun to see Brent's perspective versus ours. Like for me, there was 3 guys that were locks, and it's all in how you want to define your Mount Rushmore idea.
It is.
Right.
So I'll explain my definition as to why my 4th guy made it in. But I think the top 3 were like, no matter how you define it, they have to be there.
I'm curious. I'm curious. I think I'm on the same page. So you had Biggio, and Biggio was what number for you?
He would have been 2.
He would have been 2. So my number 2, and I only have one card. I have more than one card, but I didn't. I told you guys backstage I didn't want to dig.
Do you have Biggio? Because we're supposed to
So that's the one card that I have. So
really?
and he was my number 2. I have more cards. I did not want to go through a bunch of tubs to get and break sets today while I was working. I'm like, all right, last one, and I need to rush.
That was my rule too. I didn't break anything up for this.
Right. I have boxes and boxes of top loaders, and I'm like, all right, that's what I'm going with. And I bet you if I dug hard enough, I could find a couple more. But I was able to represent. He is my number 2 as well.
Hey, it's a rookie card. That's perfect.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and you can see it's well loved. I think there's little color fading on it up by the Topps logo, and but I do have more of his cards, and I just wanted to grab this one to represent because he is also my number 2. So Brent named my number 4. You named my number 2. So I've got 1 and 3 left, but not much to say about him. We were just talking about him. Multiple positions, fast. Had great legs. I mean, just a phenomenal player. The one guy who I have ahead of him, I think it's clear that Biggio's 2 and he's 1, and that's just kind of my feeling. And Biggio is a strong 2. I don't think anyone, aside from Altuve, when he's done and gets into the hall, that'll juggle everything up. But currently, right now, in my mind, Biggio is the solid number 2 of Mount Rushmore for the Houston Astros.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll get it to you, Brent, since I only had 1.
Well, this is the hardest one for me because we're talking about with the Astros, okay?
Right.
This is my number 1 guy of all time. But with the Astros, I'm going to put him 3. And the only reason he played 9 years here.
Oh, okay.
If he played 27 years here, I don't even have a list. This would be the only guy on it.
Right.
But since you're talking about 9 years out of 27 and he had 4 teams, this is Scott, Reindeer Studios. Go buy something from him. But he did Nolan with the Astros. So I had to be honest with myself on this one. I wanted to just throw him on number 1 just because he's my favorite guy ever.
Do you have Biggio on your list?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And here's a PSA 10 leaders. When they all 3 passed Walter Johnson. So and I tried to pull all these I have tons of Rangers and everything else, but I tried to pull some of these that had just the Astros. There's an orange refractor.
Love it. Stadium Club.
Yeah, the orange on these are numbered to 99. So Stadium Club chrome refractor there. This is one of my favorite images of him with the Astros was that Ralston. It's just super cool. Super cool. That's a 10 right there. And then this is my favorite jersey card of him. Just fantastic.
The gold. Is that another gallery?
It's a gold. I forget what this thing is, man. This has been so long. No, it's a SP Legendary Cuts.
Okay.
But just a super fantastic card. But overall, obviously, he's my favorite. But as an Astro, if you give me 9 years of him or give me a whole career of somebody else, I can't just say this is one of my favorites. He's an oversized.
I love it. You're showing the oversize. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's just a cool.
What is that exactly?
I actually sent him. It's the 80 Topps Superstar. So 80s when he came here. So this was right at the beginning, and Topps did these superstars with these kind of backs. I think there's white backs and gray backs and stuff. But this one is the one I had as a kid, and I sent it off, and it was just so nice. They gave it an 8, which is pretty good for these kind of things,
How big is that set, Brent? I'm not familiar with that. I might have to look into that. I like.
It's got some sweet stuff, but obviously I can't talk about Ryan without showing this, the ultimate piece of all time, which I've shown and made a video about recently. 1 of 1 Fanatics Emanate Iridescence autograph.
Oh, look at that thing. Look at that. My gosh.
Only one of those in the world.
That is crazy. That is beautiful.
Got the Tequila Sunrise jersey on.
That is gorgeous.
The light blue autograph. Serial numbered to 1. So that's the ultimate piece for me right there.
Do you have any aspirations of framing that and hanging it?
I'm leaving it. They put it in this huge one touch. I'm leaving it in this thing.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm not going to leave it in the light either. So
right.
It's going to stay hidden in this thing that they, they put it in. You can get these to 99 and to 25 and all that kind of stuff, but somehow I ended up with the one.
That's gorgeous.
But yeah, so my favorite guy of all time, my favorite everything of all time. But as an Astro, if you take his 9 years versus some of these other guys' careers, I had to put him 3 as an Astro. But he's probably the most important guy ever to be here.
So you have Altuve 4 as an Astro, we're saying, and then you have Ryan as 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you, Aaron? Did Nolan Ryan make your list?
Well, I was wondering, should we let Brent show his Biggio stuff? Is Biggio,
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it.
Keep it a little match gamey.
Yeah, good call. Good call.
Biggio's number 2, so we all agree on that. Biggio's
We all
number
have
2. Here's a 92 Bowman, PSA 10. Here is a Topps Chrome Gilded Gold Ray Wave. These are numbered to 25. These are just awesome cards here.
Oh, I'm glad you said what that parallel is, because I have a couple to show and I always forget what it is. It's the Ray Wave. So okay, I'm glad you said that.
Here's the 3000 hit Transcendent Collection, Transcendent Moments of the. It's got a sketch, but these are numbered to 87, but they're bronze metal framed card, thick metal framed card.
Right.
Now I was there, and I would love to show you all the piece I have, but it's like freaking 3 foot by 4 feet. But I have all the pictures I took of every hit that night, and tickets, and him and Bagwell, just this huge thing framed up with like 20 something openings, but I couldn't get it in frame here, so I'll have to save that for a different video. But I have a really awesome thing from being there that night, and there was a whole story behind that, because I shouldn't have even been there. This is a pretty obscure one, but it's a 89 rookie Panini sticker.
Oh, sure.
Neat.
So getting this in a 9 there's only a few of these in the world.
That wasn't issued. Was that issued overseas too?
I don't know. I don't know about that, but
I know like Jordan's got a couple Panini stickers that actually weren't issued in the United States. They're issued in like Spain and things of that nature.
Yeah.
It's just super flimsy. You just can't find them nice.
Right.
And stuff. And then his best card, obviously, is the 88 score traded glossy. That's a 9. They didn't make them centered. Even the 10s are 60-40. They look just like this because they didn't cut these centered. This and the Alomar. But that's.
I wonder if it was like it might have been a corner piece. That's typically not going to get centered if it's corner on the sheet.
Yeah, you couldn't get them. But this is, other than that, this one's perfect. But it's the glossy, which is the the rare one. So that's his best card, and that's why I have that one. But that's the Biggio's. I give him number 2.
So you got Biggio 2, Ryan 3, Altuve 4.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, Aaron, do you have Ryan on your list then?
So Mount Rushmore, to me, I feel like for a lot of these teams that have super long histories, and you have, if you look at like Yankees, you might say like, well, this guy was only there for 5 years, so we'll just not count that guy, and we'll stick with, Mantle and Gehrig and somebody that had their whole career there. But with the Astros and with the way modern baseball is, 10-year run is pretty darn good. So I kind of like reframe Mount Rushmore as saying like, it has to be somebody that's elite, and they've got a lot of like Hall of Very Good, or you're kind of shocked how good the stats are, that maybe they should be Hall of Famers. But I agree with Brent. To me, Nolan Ryan, because of what he brought there, even though it wasn't, long enough to even be a Hall of Famer technically with just the Astros, but he's the reason I knew who the Astros were in the 80s. And I was mentioning when we were talking, like I've been to one Astros game. It was 1987 at Wrigley Field, and I didn't go to see the Cubs. I went to see Nolan Ryan pitch. So that was a big deal.
He's the most important Astro ever. But he's not in the Hall of Fame with an Astros cap.
Yeah, he could go in with 3 teams caps, and nobody would be upset about it. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Exactly. So I tried to pick a few that were a little bit different as well. Like Kellogg's. Yeah, they're cool. That jersey is epic.
Yeah.
There's so many of his too where you get, they talk about his accomplishments. So throwing in
that was the only note for us right there was number 5.
Oh, he only had one with the Astros?
Only one with us.
I thought he had 2. How many did he have with the Rangers?
He only went to the Rangers for 5 years and got 2. Yeah.
Okay, I had that backwards then. I think I had it backwards in my head.
I like this one too.
Classic.
That's
yeah.
the first classic baseball game.
87 classic green with yep.
Yep, which I played. So that's a well-handled card, but it's still in decent shape. First upper deck. Those are epic.
Yeah, those are phenomenal.
Let me see if I had anything else. Oh, I had a couple. You showed the biggest Nolan Ryan. I have like the tiniest little Nolan Ryan here.
Yeah,
that's kind of
the
a fun one.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, 1981 All-Star Game program little cutout thing. So
cut out. Yeah, I still have some of the programs.
Do you?
Oh, that's cool.
And then of all the irony, I think I own like 4 10s in my entire collection, and it was more so just to see what they look like because I have 7s and next to an 8. And I'm like, they look the same. So I have some 9s, and I'm like, what's a 10 do? Does a 10 like talk to you and cook dinner? Like, how is this so much different? I don't know that I could tell the difference, but it ends up being one of them that you showed. So I don't know if that's special-ish or not, but I was like, if I'm gonna get a 10, I have some Dale Murphys and I have a Nolan Ryan. So
hey, there you go, perfect guys. But they need to
put
Murphy in the Hall of Fame. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So I definitely have Nolan Ryan on the Mount Rushmore for who he was to the game, and his Astros time was significant. So
yeah, I will actually say, based on everything that Brent has said and the order that he's going in, I think we're going to end up with the exact same list. I had Nolan Ryan at 3 as well. I looked past the 9 years, if I'm not mistaken, is how many years he played with them. That's significant. To me, unless you brought up a valid point, Aaron, unless you're the Yankees, because you're just so riddled with history.
That's
5
it.
5 years, you could bounce somebody off. Like, to me, 5 years with any organization, modern, particularly in the modern era, to me, that's valid. My Hall of Famer with the White Sox is you had to have played with the team for 5 years. Then I will collect you. So to me, my cutoff is 5. So he definitely made that. He is potentially, arguable one of the greatest pitchers of all time. So how do you not have him on the list?
That's the thing.
Right. I mean, if he was there for 4 years, I think he's making my list. So most of my stuff is standard. I get 81.
81, nice. I love that.
Yeah. And then I've got the heart of when I was collecting 85.
Mm-hmm.
86. And I kept the one thing that I did want to do is every player I pulled, if they were only a short timer, 87 with the Astros, it had to be in the uniform. I pulled nothing of a player outside of the Astros uniform.
Yeah. Record
breaker 87. And there's several of those, if I'm not mistaken. 88.
88.
89. And then this came in one of the more recent sets. It's one of the grand games. And it's the same image, I think, as the 87 image, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it's different. I have to look. Nope, it's different. I thought it was the same image, but it is slightly different. Yeah. So this is more of a modern card. I have a great story, and I forgot you had mentioned you went to an Astros game, Aaron, and I have a fantastic story that I said I was going to say when we were talking about this episode for the episode. Most of my buddies in Chicago are Cub fans. I am a Cardinals and White Sox fan, so everybody assumes that I'm a Cub hater. I am not, but when I'm with my friends who I grew up with, I quickly become a Cub hater because it's my buddies, some of them since we were 4 or 5 years old. I went to a doubleheader at Wrigley with a friend of mine, and it was against the Astros. And the first game, and I couldn't even tell you who was pitching. This had to be in the 90s. I lived in the city for 5 years in the late 90s in Chicago. I lived blocks from Wrigley Field. And we went to a doubleheader, and we were sitting in the upper deck, and the first game, the Astros won, and the entire time I was rooting for the Astros, just because that's who I am. I'm going to make sure that everybody understands I'm not a Cub fan. So we get to the second game, and it's the first or the second inning, and I'm rooting. And it's all light banter. It was nothing rude, nothing ignorant. And I'm rooting for the Astros, and people are booing me within our section. And we had the rafters above us, and a pigeon pooped on my shoulder. The poop from the rafters, and the poop hit my shoulder while I was watching the second game. And everybody in that section started cheering the minute it happened because I was rooting for the Astros. And I actually laughed. I'm like, I was trying to explain to everybody, that's good luck. That's just good luck now. But yeah, I got cheered against because a pigeon crapped on my shoulder during an Astros-Cubs game. Cubs won the second one, if I'm not mistaken. So. But yeah, it's a story I always tell because I just get a kick out, and it was lighthearted. It wasn't like ignorant or rude. Yeah. We were all having fun, so it was a good
fun,
time. Yeah.
I wish we still had double headers, man. You used to be able to pay for that one game, and you got.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's funny. I'm wearing Ernie. Like let's play too. That's
right.
That's
right.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Speaking of wearing, this is Scott Reindeer Studios, all 3 stadiums.
Oh, very cool.
That's cool. That's fairly new, isn't it?
So Colt 45, Colt 45 Stadium, then the Astrodome, of course, my favorite place, and then the stadium we're in now, which is now Daikin Park. But yeah, he did a cool thing with all 3 of them.
That's very cool.
That's very neat.
So what are we left with for me and Brent? And I don't know if it's yours, but I've got my number 1 left, and that's it. We'll let Brent go with his number 1.
Yeah, the easiest thing in the world was number 1, but it was is my guy. First of all, these are Bagwell gloves. Now, he broke his hand 3 times, and he had this thing. And this huge pad here is not even the pad. This was the Velcro thing that the pad went on. It was about this big.
Oh, my gosh.
But he never wanted to have that happen again because it happened 3 times. But these are our Bagwell's gloves. But I know it's not a card, but I had to show that. He was also
that's cool.
He was also the only 30-30 first baseman. And this just happens to be a 30-30 card. So, first baseman don't do that, but he did. Yep. 94, other than Bonds, 94, he was the best player I've ever seen in my life. He batted .368. He was going to break Roger Maris's record in the Astrodome. He had 39 home runs with 2 months left. I mean, I've never seen anybody play. And he had like 130 RBIs in 4 months. I mean, like, he was freaking Babe Ruth in 94 and then the strike and all. So that was just horrible for me. But Diamond Cuts, this is one of the coolest inserts ever.
Love it.
Really, really cool card there.
That's cool.
I'm a die cut guy. I love that.
Yeah, those are rare. My favorite image of him ever, and I remember when this card came out. This is a PSA 10, but the Leaf Gold rookies. Just when that came out, this was like some of the first inserts ever. So being able to pull this out of your pack was just like a big, big deal,
That was a really big card back in the day, wasn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And in this one, the very next year, the Rookie Sensations, getting this in a 9 is virtually impossible. But yeah, these were huge. You have him, Pudge, and Frank Thomas in that set. This is one of the coolest ones. This is his first card ever. Now, he was with the Red Sox minor league at this point, but this is an oversized card. But this is the first card he ever had. 1988. So 2 years before his rookie card.
Oh, that's an Aaron card right there.
Yeah, I love that. I love that stuff.
It's really cool stuff, man. So this is an old SGC 9. And
Very cool.
Then this here is impossible. They only made 25 of these. But these are the gilded where they did their Hall of Fame plaques with an autograph. They only made 25 of each guy. It's the big, thick gold frame stuff again. But there's only 25 of these in the world. There's no other ones.
That's beautiful.
So you got his Hall of Fame plaque and his autograph right there on the card. Big, thick gold. Yeah. So these are super, super tough. The other gilded autographs, you can get 25 versions of parallels and stuff, but they only made 25 of these. So they're just impossible to come by. Right after people open the packs and put them on eBay, they're just gone.
I love Brent's knowledge of this era of collecting. Yeah. So this particular era of collecting was probably my dip out of the hobby, right? So I graduated high school in 91. So from about 92 to about 2000, was my lull in the hobby because I was 18 years old chasing girls. Then I got married. Then I had kids. And so that was that era. So to hear him talk about all this, it makes me want to go back and grab all this stuff now.
I know
that.
This one I've showed before, but this is super special because I got this from Jeff Bagwell in his rookie year at the Astrodome, holding my card in Sharpie over the dugout. But he signed that in his rookie year.
Yes.
This was his only card at the time. The Stadium Club, nothing else had come out yet. It was just this one. And I took it up there, not thinking anything I would ever get anything like that, because I normally don't have that kind of luck. But you know, it's not like today where the huge crowds and stuff. I think I was literally standing there by myself, and he came over, pretended to get a drink in the dugout, and you know, nodded to me. I don't remember. I'm sure I said thank you, but I don't remember anything else. It was a blur. But he signed it, handed it back to me graciously, as every time I've met him. But that was literally in his rookie year, and he became a Hall of Famer after that.
You did a video on that. I remember you showing that piece in one of your videos.
I did show that before, and I showed this recently, but of course Jeff Bagwell's my number one guy, but there's only about 10 of these in the whole world. But this is the 1992 Diamond Kings Supers. They had Donruss had, the executives that had the meeting to announce they're going to do the Diamond Kings as a special insert instead of part of the set, and they made 5x7 versions of them just to give to some executives, and this one is the Bagwell.
So cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I think there's 3 or 4 graded, period.
So cool.
That's probably about 10 of them. But that's already was one of my favorite cards ever. Remember when this came out, I freaked out about it. But yeah, you wouldn't have had any knowledge of this kind of thing back in those times.
Right, right.
They weren't distributed. The internet and all that changed to where you found out about other stuff. But unless someone from that meeting decided to get rid of their stuff and sell it somehow, none of these got out. So
right.
But yeah, that's awesome. That's just a killer piece. That's just super, super rare.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He's number one. And like I said with Ryan, obviously he's my number one athlete of all time. He's the most important Astro of all time. But when you have 2 guys that never played anywhere else and went into the Hall of Fame with their whole careers with our team and went in with our cap on, you got to put those guys 1 and 2. Obviously, Bagwell's got the biggest WAR. He only played 15 years because of injury, because his shoulder, he couldn't even throw anymore. I mean, he can't play toss with his kids today. I mean, he can't. But he's, Biggio played 20 years, got the 3,000 hits and all that. So he played 5 more years, but Bagwell still has more WAR. I mean, it was a Batman and Robin thing. I mean, I lived here. I know. So for the people that talk about Biggio, yeah, he's great, but he was Robin. Trust me. Bagwell, Bagwell was unanimous MVP in '94. Could have been a couple other years, but everybody had a big year. And if JT Snow hadn't been traded from the Angels to the Giants and came to the National League, because you got to remember, Astros were National League most of my life. I mean, they're American League now, but so Bagwell lost out on all those Gold Gloves. He got 1, but they gave JT Snow the Gold Glove every year. But Bagwell was unbelievable in the field, and then he stole a bunch of bases, 30-30 guy at first base, and just you would have had 500 home runs easy, but he missed so much time. 3 broken hands, and then the shoulder at the end of his career, he couldn't even throw anymore. So he couldn't even toss it to the pitcher. So that, he had to retire just because he had to. So he ends up with 449 home runs because of that. But, he would have had unbelievable stats otherwise. But still, pretty good WAR for the amount of time he played.
It's 80, isn't it? Isn't he at 80 or close to 80?
I haven't looked at it, but it's up. It's our best.
It's high 70s.
Yeah. It's like right on the edge at like 79 point something, or just which is like a lock in my world.
Oh yeah,
79.9.
Okay, all right, there you go. Yeah.
He's to me, he's the clear number one. He's my favorite guy ever. If you're not talking about universally, it's Nolan Ryan, but if you're talking about just an Astro, Bagwell's always been my guy from day one since he signed that for me in his rookie year, all the way through finally getting to the Hall of Fame later. He's the guy. So to me, it's clear number one. I got a ton of extra guys to talk about, but he's clear number one.
Oh yeah. So the question is, did he hit your list, Aaron?
I went Akeem Olajuwon.
I went Robert Horry.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That choice. Warren Moon had a few good years in there. It is funny. Yeah, I agree. When I was looking at Houston and thinking of, like Nolan Ryan's the only one you have a starting lineup for. But I think when you look at their career with the Astros, yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to go more controversy. Do you think the cloud of the steroid era? I feel like Bagwell is at least mentioned in that because of everybody being mentioned in that.
I think that's why he wasn't first ballot, just because of that speculation and all that.
There was nothing ever proven with him though that I'm aware of, right?
No, he was good.
I didn't even know. I wasn't even aware he was mentioned as part of that potential.
He was good friends with Ken Caminiti.
Okay.
Caminiti admitted it later before he died, and that's a super sad story there. I mean, he dove, he broke his body out on the field, played too hard, started taking painkillers, and just one thing led to another. He just kept taking them, and he killed himself super young, just because of how hard he played is how that started. But he took some steroids to try to get through all that stuff. He was pretty tight with Bagwell. Who knows? I mean, we already know there's people in the Hall of Fame. Pudge Rodriguez, we know but they kept Juan Gonzalez out, but they let Pudge Rodriguez in. They let Big Papi in.
Big Papi
didn't even play the field, but he gets in because he was friendly with the media and all that. So they all hold grudges and stuff like that. I just, I wish there was a better way to get votes than baseball writers, but it is kind of what it is with that. But yeah, there's a little bit of a talk, but nothing was ever really real. Of course, no one ever proved Bonds or Clemens either, but just kind of the way that era is, you're just going to always have these kind of things. But I think that's why he wasn't first ballot. They made him wait a little bit, but you can't deny the numbers in the end. Of course, they're denying ridiculous numbers with some of these guys now.
Right. 7 MVPs, 7 Cy Youngs, like, most likely and stuff.
Yeah. Bonds had twice the WAR before the steroid eras than the average Hall of Famer has.
Yeah.
Twice. It's not even close. Clemens, of course, just the best of his era, period. And Sosa, 600 homers. You don't play 18 years and hit 600 homers just because you took something. It's just the way it is. But those guys, I guess they're just always going to make an example of them. They're not going to get in. Pete Rose, the hit leader, the home run leader, the everything leader, other than Henderson and Ryan, all the important record people are not even in the Hall of Fame.
Well, I got such a kick out of it because recently in the last week or two, my wife saw on the news that Donald Trump wants to exonerate Pete Rose.
Yeah.
And she said, so what does that mean for him? I said, that means absolutely nothing. I said, he doesn't vote him into the Hall of Fame. That means nothing.
As bad as I want him into the Hall of Fame, I think it's a joke to throw him in now.
I agree.
His family can't enjoy it. He can't enjoy it. I want to see it, but I don't want to see it because it's too late. You can't make it Pete. And Pete wasn't a saint, but that's not what this is.
Correct.
This is Hall of Fame. This is how good were you at baseball.
Oh, if you look at the NFL Hall of Fame, you've got some very savory characters in the NFL Hall of Fame. So,
there's a lot of that stuff, but that's not what it's supposed to be about. If someone was seriously bad, and I hate to bring this up, but Juan Marichal, if he did that now, he would be kicked out of baseball.
He'd be kicked out of baseball.
He wouldn't be in baseball. He'd be in jail. He wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. He wouldn't be in anything. He hit another man with a bat in the head.
Yep.
Yeah. He could have killed somebody. That would be attempted murder. It would be, but I don't understand why people think of one thing one way and the other. That's, to me, the worst thing that's ever happened on a field, period. Because he could have killed somebody. I
think a close second is the White Sox fan jumping the ump and beating the heck out of the umpire. As a Sox fan, I caught that for years. A father and son beating the heck out of an umpire.
But as a player now, you would go the way of Wander Franco if you did that.
100%.
It would be over immediately. Yep. No one would talk to you again, and you'd be in jail. You'd be in jail and you'd be sued and everything else. But weird how all this stuff works out.
Yeah, it's interesting. It keeps for good conversation, that's for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank
God.
God.
All righty, sir. So what do you got for Bagwell?
So, Bagwell, I don't have a whole lot either because it was. So you talk about your years. For me, I think 92, 93. That's about the time I was kind of mid high school and finally getting a car and all that kind of fun stuff. So I think that's when I faded a little bit on collecting. So his rookie era. Was about the time I was kind of slowing down, but I did go grab a couple, which I just shared my LCS pickups.
Had to go make them run.
Well, a beautiful
it's
card.
funny. Yeah, I picked up a couple of cool ones, and it is it's so telling of the era. I mean, these are 50-cent cards. It's crazy.
Crazy to me.
And I did find a couple others in there.
Oh yeah, there you
go. But yeah, I mean, to me, I agree, and I go back and forth. I mean, you don't want to like just say, someone that cheated or used steroids, like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, some of those guys were saying like 80% of the league was using. So what point are you just like, if it's an open book test, you're closing the book for no reason. Like everyone else is doing it.
Right.
Like almost everybody was doing it, and a lot of them didn't get caught. But my other problem is if people like Clemens were doing it, you're just evening the field if you're a hitter.
Yep.
Eric Gagne, all these guys that were dominating that have admitted it now. If one side's doing it and you can't, there's a serious disadvantage. So I just have a problem with the whole thing. But yeah, it's like you said, it's a sticky thing to try to even make a judgment one way or the other. But if it wasn't proven to me, you got to kind of, I don't know.
I agree.
The Astros thing, I don't know. But I mean, if you put Pete in now, I mean, who even goes and makes that speed? If I was his family, I wouldn't even show up, honestly.
Right.
So if you put well, then that the question, then you've got the rolling tumbleweed down the hill. So if Pete gets into Shoeless Joe, get in.
And he should. He played in
right.
He didn't slump in that series. He kicked.
No. Right. So what do and that's the sticky wicket, and that's what always blows my mind about this particular era, because Irod's in and Big Poppy's in, and so what are we doing here?
What are we doing?
It's hypocrisy at the highest level.
They're definitely picking and choosing, and that's what I have a problem with. It's just kind of ridiculous, but I don't think we can control it. But right. To me, here's the other thing. If let's say they let Bonds or Clemens or both in, I mean, what is their speech even like? I mean, at this point, it's so unfun, and they've been punished so badly, and all they did was just play better than everybody else, and maybe they did take some stuff, but it doesn't make you a great baseball player. I mean, no one ever heard of all the guys in the minor leagues that were taking steroids trying to get to the majors. They're all no names. Barry Bonds is the best player ever. Maybe Babe Ruth is the only one you could make an argument for, but if you got 500 stolen bases, Babe Ruth didn't have that.
Right.
But you can't do all that just based on taking something. It maybe helped, and I'm not going to say it didn't, but it's a tough one. I wish it never happened. I honestly wish steroids never happened, because we could enjoy McGuire, we could enjoy Sosa, we could enjoy Bonds and Clemens and all these great guys of the era. But, what if some of these other guys did it? We just have no idea,
Do you think, obviously, overproduction, it's the heart of the quote-unquote junk wax era, started in probably 84, right? And probably went to mid-90s.
94, I think it kind of ended, yeah.
Yeah, so you would say, mass production has brought values down to the cards. Do you think that whole era with the steroids is also weighing that down? The fact that you can pick and by the way, he's my number one. The fact that you can pick up his rookie card for 50 cents, that to me, I know supply and demand is the major reason, but I wonder if that had anything to do with it.
I think it's mostly supply and demand, because if you try to buy a PSA 10 85 McGuire right now, it's thousands of dollars.
Okay.
If you get an 84 Fleer Update Clemens and a 10, it's thousands of dollars. Anything that's rare, it's worth a lot. But if they're a dime a dozen, and you can get them for nothing, they just stay cheap. But it's the stuff that's overproduced that doesn't get the love. But even these guys that we talk about, Barry Bonds, he's got some very expensive cards.
Sure.
So it doesn't keep people from doing it, but they're not gonna spend big money on stuff you can get easily.
Okay, that makes sense. I only did, but for the record, I showed the upper deck. I only have 2 more for him. So this is the archives. So this isn't isn't the 91 sitting in a bin. So, but I did have the archives in a top loader. So this is the gold archives of the year they did a bunch of rookie cards, and then I've got the hit parade, and I don't even know what year this is. Tops, terrible with this, but another card that was easy accessible for me. So those are my 3 for without a doubt in my mind, the number 1 player on Mount Rushmore.
He's number 1.
Yep, and there we go. I was gonna make these my honorable mentions. I found these in a box.
Hey,
look at that.
I like it.
I got to show something else now that y'all talk.
Yeah. So I guess we'll go to Aaron. We're going to be doing honorable mentions. I got a bunch, so I'll trim it down based on time, but I definitely want Brent to show some of his honorable mentions, and I want to see where you land on that as well. So,
all right. So I went when Bagwell got into the Hall of Fame. They had stuff obviously at the stadium, and they shipped the plaque there before it went to the Hall of Fame. So we were supposed to get a photo op with him and the plaque. The plaque didn't show up in time. So we ended up getting 2 photo ops. We got one with him, and then we got one with the plaque later when it showed up that afternoon. So either way, we got both, but it wasn't both at the same time. Fast forward to the next year, Fan Fest, they had a bunch of stuff from the year before they always sell off. I have like an 8-foot banner of George Springer that was hanging in the stadium from 2017, a bunch of stuff. But they had the sign that was there for the Bagwell photo op, and I bought it and framed it. But
that's cool.
Oh, wow.
That's the sign they had at the stadium for when we got there. That would have been there when I was doing it, not knowing that I would later be able to get this.
That's cool. I love that.
But
that's neat.
Yeah, number one for me for all time, obviously. But yeah, that was just super cool being able to kind of get that later when I never knew that would even be coming up for sale. So.
So how many honorable mentions do you have, Brent? Because I've got quite a few actually.
Oh, about a trillion.
I'll let you kind of take the lead and show one or two, and then you can show one or two, Aaron. Or are we going to play match games still, kind of deal?
No, we can show a couple. I literally have one.
Okay.
I have a ton.
I have quite a few.
I got to rattle through mine, but some of them are just fun. Like Bruce Bochy's rookie card is with us.
Nice.
So he's gonna be a Hall of Famer. Leo DeRocher. Was a manager here with the Astros. Yogi Berra was a coach here.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Ivan Rodriguez got his 300th home run here. Nobody remembers that.
I didn't remember that.
Of course, Eddie Matthews. I need that 67, but he was an Astro.
Yeah.
Doc Gooden was an Astro for one game. He pitched one game. And they almost didn't have any cards of him, but they made a weird insert in Topps Chrome, the all-star rookie team. And of course, he wasn't a rookie, but he was a phenom rookie. But they didn't show him with that team. They showed him with the Astros. This is his only card.
Oh, that's cool.
That's funny.
But this is actually the refractor. This is the good version. But that's the only card depicting him with the Astros. He pitched one game, and then we got rid of him. So just crazy stuff. But then guys like Kurt Schilling were here for a while before.
Yes.
His only rookie card is with the Orioles, but he came here real quick and then, of course, went on to all the other success. My favorite short timer was the 2 months that Randy Johnson was here. There's only 5 of these in the world. This is Electro Black Refractor. But this shows him with the Astros, so I had to get that. But his best stretch of his whole career was during those 2 months. Pettit and Clemens, of course, came here.
Yep.
So there's Pettit with us. Here's one with Don Sutton, Ryan, and Clemens with the game used.
It's funny, I didn't grab any Pettit or Clemens out of everything that I grabbed.
With Ryan and Clemens with the Astros.
That's cool.
So, those two guys, obviously, their careers are amazing. Neither one in the Hall of Fame for obvious reasons. Luis Gonzalez started here, of course, won the World Series later. But that's a PSA 10 of his Gold rookie. Same year as Bagwell, just not quite as big a star. I could not find an Astros Joe Morgan card. I don't know why, but there's a Diamond King. Obviously, he started here and he came back here. But, other than
I couldn't find one either. I was looking for one. I couldn't find one either.
I was, like we said, I wasn't going to bust up sets and stuff.
Right. What do you got, Aaron? So you said you got one.
I got one, and this is funny. The only one I pulled was my restriction of they should be a Hall of Famer, and he was in the running really, and it's Joe Morgan.
Joe Morgan.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Pulled his 70.
He'd have been here longer. There'd be no doubt. There you go.
Yeah, 66 and 60. When did he? He was with them until 69.
Well, that's a 71.
Oh yeah.
So at least 70. He was like 8 years, I think.
Yeah, 72. Because when they were traded, 72 of Morgan going to the Reds, I think, in 72.
And all the insane years of the Reds, and and then he came back very briefly. But yeah.
And I don't know if we wanted to count Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works. That counts.
So we'll double dip.
2 of them.
Well, I've got.
Was that Venezuelan?
You got to go. Well, there's no Venezuelan of that, but there is an Opeachy, which is still actually pretty tough.
Yeah.
Super tough.
So I figured that'd be a fun one to get.
Heck yeah, man.
That's awesome.
I've never had the Opeachy. I had the tops. I couldn't find it. I may have had to sell it a long time ago. I don't remember. There's some.
I am stunned. I am stunned that you didn't show this. I had to take this out for fun. So there's Nelly box. Had to show my Nelly. Another phenomenal Astro player. These are just the first 2 I'm going to show you. So Jose Abreu. All right. Did not play well for that team.
He could not play.
No, but it was disastrous.
Yeah. But those are my fun ones. Some of the guys that I really do believe. Well, I only took 2 of his cards. Lance Berkman, I think, is definitely an honorable mention.
Yeah.
So I grabbed a couple of his, and then I started to go. Oh, here's another one who I think when I think of growing up and I think of the Houston Astros, I think of this guy, Mike Scott. Had a phenomenal career. I think, exactly. I think he was a great pitcher and a dominant pitcher of that era. And then I started grabbing a lot of guys who have been with other teams. So I've got only in Astros jerseys. That's Justin Verlander.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a bunch of his stuff. Ben Baller. This is Topps Chrome. And this was this is a non-licensed issue, Panini issue. This is really thick. And I've got a couple of those. And then not prominently known, Greinke, right? So that's sepia tone.
He could be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. And then this is that's your Ray Wave. I just learned that when Brent said it earlier. So there's my Ray Wave. I went with a lot of young, new guys. Here's a guy who I think I think he's one of my favorite players currently playing right now if he can stay healthy. I love Yordan Alvarez. I pulled a bunch of his stuff. So this is a Dunross numbered out of 100 foil board. This is a 70th Topps Chrome.
Yeah.
My favorite set of some of the modern. This Bowman's best set was phenomenal. I think it's just gorgeous design. Bowman Iconic. And then we've got Refractor. And you're not seeing the shine as much. And then rookie card, rookie Chrome. And I have a couple of his stuff. Some of his modern cards graded because I really, I was on that Luis Roberts, Yordan Alvarez train. Yeah. So, and I'm still on the Luis Roberts train, even though I have a hunch he won't be with them the whole year. But he's my guy. So
I know
he's the only guy on that team worth talking about. So
Yordan could get to the Hall of Fame. It's way too early, but I was there the night he hit the home run and we won the World Series. So that's all that counts. Kevin Bass was a really, really good Astro. That's his rookie.
Yeah.
Roy Oswalt was our best pitcher other than Clemens and Pettit. Those guys came. He was awesome.
I grabbed a Roy.
He was of course, my guy we were talking about earlier, but Ken Caminiti. Rest in peace. But his 88 rookie's there. He was awesome. He signed autograph for me. He's great. Brad Lidge after Wagner was phenomenal. Then he went on to have that perfect season with the Phillies and won. But that's an awesome atomic refractor rookie. And then finally my Hall of Famer. This is super tough die cut to get an 8, and there's an 8 with Billy. Billy the Kid. He's another phenomenal human being, beyond just being one of the best closers ever. Larry Durker's probably the best. He's probably the ultimate Astro. He was a super amazing pitcher, no-hitter pitcher, all that kind of stuff. Not quite Hall of Famer, but then he was our best color man broadcaster my whole life. So years and years and years. Then he stepped out and became the manager and made us winning again. We weren't winning for a long, long time. He was a winning manager. He's done everything for our team that you could possibly do. Now, before Bagwell and Biggio, the guy you had to say was Mr. Astro was Jose Cruz. Now, his rookie card is with the Cardinals.
Could not find one. I was looking for a Jose Cruz.
These are both my birth year 75. These are both buybacks, but they're different buybacks. So I have both of them. But yeah, 2 75s there. So Jose Cruz definitely like upper echelon all time.
Yep.
Almost Mount Rushmore as an Astro.
What about Cesar Cedeno? I kind of had him up there too.
Yeah.
Those two are both very legit.
Yeah. And then I
shooting the girlfriend thing going on.
Right.
It's a little tough. But
as players,
right. Joe Negro was another one that I grabbed.
Yep, Negro.
I grabbed some Billy the Kid. He's definitely honorable mention. And then I grabbed
hit off in the Major League history.
Yeah, there are 2 guys. So here, the next, I only have 3 guys to show. 2 of them are no longer with the team. I think they were an integral part of the team. I think they have the potential to be Hall of Famers, and one of them was Carlos Correa.
Yeah.
And everything I have is in the Astros uniform. It's like another Ben Baller. This is Correa's Bowman's best rookie. And then I grabbed Bregman. I think Bregman's a fantastic player. So this Cosmic, I don't know, stars of the game, stars of MLB. What is that? X Factor? Is that an X Factor? Brent?
Yeah.
I don't know the name. Okay. So that's an X Factor. And then this is 2023, I believe. 23? 24.
24.
And then the last guy I grabbed, and he's kind of dipped off, but man, was he tearing it up as a young kid. I got heavy into Jeremy Pena and collected a bunch of his stuff. Again,
he's right now. He's killing the ball.
Good, because I got a lot of his rookie cards. So I really and then he killed it in the World Series too. Yeah. So
MVP.
So I grabbed a bunch of his stuff, and that's it for me. That's my stack was big, and I rattled it off. So that's.
Well,
that's
I only
impressive.
have a couple left. This one is.
Go ahead.
This one's super cool. Titans, but this is the orange, parallel refractor to 25. So this is 7 of 25. But these are really, really cool. Really, really tough.
I love those. Yeah, I have a bunch of them. Just the base Titans.
So it's kind of like a DeLong, except for not. You know what I mean? But
right.
A giant person in the stadium, kind of a situation.
Yeah,
but that's the super tough orange one. And of course, you talked about this guy, but this guy's top 5 switch hitter of all time. People just don't realize it, but Lance Berkman, if he'd have played just a little bit longer, he could have been Hall of Fame easy. But just didn't.
Did he go to the Yankees? Did he go to the Yankees?
He went to the Rangers and the Yankees. But,
okay.
Yeah, but yeah, he was the guy here for a long time. Just amazing switch hitting.
Well, wasn't the Killer Bees all 3 of them? It wasn't just.
Well, originally it was Derek Bell and Biggio and Bagwell, and then we ended up having Blum later, as you know, because he freaking hit the home run against us. He's actually our guy that's on TV now calling the game. But he hit the home run with the White Sox against us. But originally it was Derek Bell, and there was one other guy, and then there was Bagwell and Biggio. But Bagwell and Biggio became the Killer Bees.
Okay.
And even before that, it was Barry Bonds and Bobby Bonilla, not with us, but they had both names Bees. That's why they were. But obviously Verlander.
Yes.
He might go into the Hall of Fame with our cap, but this is a card of that game in the playoffs where he struck out 16 and went the whole distance, and I was there that night. So it was, if a Topps Now card comes out of something that I was at, that's usually the time I buy him. Yeah. This is ALDS Game 1 versus Cleveland, but this is a pitched ball in that game from Verlander.
Very cool.
Not a card, but yeah, it's the real deal postseason.
That's cool.
How long was he with the Astros, Brent Verlander?
So the very end of 17 until this year, and he had that weird little stint a year ago with the Mets for just a couple months, and then we brought him back. So, it's just kind of interesting how all that worked out. But he was super important to us. But it's kind of crazy. He was hurt almost every year. Out 2 years with Tommy John, but the 2 years on either side of that, he won the Cy Young.
Yeah, so I was looking at one year he was ERA leader and had like 19 wins or something like that. I mean, just phenomenal numbers.
And the 1 year he and Cole just tore it up. You know, our coaching staff made Cole a superstar, and then he went out to make $300 million.
Right.
And now he's got Tommy John, and they can't even use him. But I'll show you real quick, some real quick. But these some combo card. That's Bagwell and Jordan.
That's cool.
That is a rookie year, but this is the orange parallel to 25, and it's number 5, which Jeff Bagwell's number 5. Here's one with Bagwell and Biggio, the two. You know, they were teammates for 15 years.
That's a cool card. What is that out of?
That one is the winning combinations from 2001 Fleer Platinum.
So if I'm looking for that just raw or, you know, not in the high grade, is it expensive? That's
not too expensive. That one is numbered. This one's the red parallel, I believe. It's numbered to 1,000, so it's not. It's weird. It's weirdly hard to find for how high you think it's numbered by today's standards.
Right.
This one is super awesome. Now they made these with no refractor. They made them with a refractor on one of the guys, and then the super rare is a refractor on both of the guys.
That's the Topps Finest, 98 Topps Finest.
And it'll say refractor and refractor.
Yeah.
These are super tough, but both guys on one card, there's refractor. This is
I have a bunch of those. Kerry Wood and Roger Clemens is one that I have.
It's just hard to find a dual refractor.
Yeah, I have a single refractor. I have one side refractor. I don't have a dual refractor.
A lot of people on eBay will list it as dual refractor, and they're not. You got to pay very close.
Yeah.
This is a 97 chrome. I sent this off when I used to send off, and I got a 10. But it's a refractor, Biggio, and Bagwell.
That's beautiful.
So it's a combo card back and front. It's refractor on both sides. This is probably the biggest one of all. This is a 2000 Finest refractor.
God, that's beautiful.
That's Bagwell. And then Biggio on the back.
Awesome looking cards.
Those super tough, and that is a 10. That's a PSA 10.
Very cool.
That's a big card. And then the last one of the night, super awesome patch card of both of the second basemen. Biggio and Altuve there.
Oh, that's cool.
But some real killer patch. And this one is the red. All this, you can see these lines. It's a red parallel to 10. So it's only.
And you found that ungraded?
Yeah.
Because I see it's in your case. Man, I'm stunned that you found that ungraded. Typically, that'd get graded right off the chute.
I bought it right when people were opening the packs and listing them. You know how it goes.
Perfect.
Other than that, you just don't find them. But combinations of some of the guys we talked about, it's just kind of fun to have, you know, on the same card. But that's it. That's my Mount Rushmore plus.
That's awesome. Yeah, we read a lot. That is the biggest honorable mention that I've ever put together. And some of them, you know, they're questionable honorable mentions, like Jeremy Pena. I mean, he's young, but I just wanted to read. I'm like, all right, I'm just grabbing a bunch of Astro cards. Let's show some great, because they've got a lot of good young talent. They've got a lot of great. Valdez is a phenomenal pitcher. I mean, they've just got a lot of good talent right now.
Yeah, we just lost Bregman and we just lost Tucker. We're going to lose Fromber. Fromber's going to be $200+ million. We're not going to pay him, so he's going to be gone. So it's the way it works. You know, you can't afford these guys forever. Just like Cole and Springer and Correa, they go get these giant contracts. Look at Bregman, $40 million a year he just got.
I know. And Correa kind of dipped off when he went to Minnesota, didn't he? I mean, he hasn't produced like he did when he was with you guys.
No. Some people speculate because he was one of the guys that was proven to have used the system in 2017. Okay. So maybe he wasn't as good after that, you know. But you know, he's still you know, platinum glove in the field. You know, literally the best guy in all of baseball kind of thing in the field. But you know, he doesn't hit quite like he did.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Can we say, Aaron, and I'm going only off of memory, is this the first time all three of us had the exact same guys? I think
I saw another one.
Did you?
One. Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Because I know early on there were guys I wanted to add to the list. I just didn't have cards. Like when we got deep into the weeds on pre-war and stuff like that, I just didn't have the cards.
I think with Billy Ballgame in St. Louis, y'all all matched.
Yeah, let's see, Musial, Musial Smith, Musial Smith. I can't even think of who, and I'm a Cardinal fan. Who else did I put in it? Musial Smith.
Gibson.
Hornsby was one. And Gibson. Yeah, I went out and bought some modern Hornsby because I had to represent him. So
you can't get those old ones. So
He's got them all. Aaron's got them all in his collection. So
that's why I'm lucky. Houston doesn't go back that far. So now there is one guy in the T206 set named Foldy White. There's one Houston guy. He was with the Buffaloes. So I'm still looking for the right copy of that T206. I don't care what back it is, but I do want it to be centered and nice. I found one, and then someone bought it immediately as soon as I saw it. But yeah, Foldy White, the only T206 guy from Houston. But
all right, I'm gonna keep an eye out on that in Strongsville, and I'll send you pics if I see it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the. Other than that, though, as far as the Astros Colt 45, it just doesn't go back that far. So all of our greats are more modern.
Right. Which I enjoyed. It was something a little different. We're the vintage dudes who go.
I know. Well,
I love
pulling me on. I mean, I know I'm not the vintage guy, but 90s guy. But
I love it.
Yeah,
I collect it all, so that's good for me. I mean,
I had a blast.
No, that's good stuff.
Thank you. It's fun to stretch and to learn, and that's the beautiful thing of the hobby. If we all did it the same, it'd be boring. So it's always fun to hear different stories and different perspectives and different hometown teams. So we appreciate you.
No, that's fantastic. And the knowledge that you have of that era, I need to gain more of that knowledge. The only thing that I'm nervous about is I'm going to gain that knowledge and then I'm going to spend my money in that era and as well as 3 or 4 other eras. So
that's why I can't get into the old stuff. It's not that I don't like it. I love it all.
Right.
If I had
you had it. Didn't you have a bunch of it?
I had a huge collection, but I had all 4 Nolan Ryan rookies. But
wow.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Well, boys, I think that was a success. I appreciate you jumping on, Brent. We're at about an hour and 15. That's perfect. We rattled through it pretty quick, and I think we're all in agreement. I say every episode at the end of every episode, well, we're clearly correct, and everybody else is going to be wrong if they disagree. So that's a given. But listen, hey everybody, if you get the chance, please, if you haven't subscribed to Brent already, Brent Richards Baseball Cards, please check out his channel. If you liked what he was showing, he's got a lot of awesome stuff. And as always, check out my good buddy here, Aaron. He's taking care of business as usual. But we'll call it a night here, and until the next episode of Mount Rushmore, we'll talk then. Thanks for jumping on, Brent.
Later, everybody. Thank you, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right.